Hello, my name is Jacob Muff and welcome to Film Rants. Before we get started, let me tell you about myself. I'm a high schooler from Nebraska, I'm an aspiring filmmaker, and I'm a huge nerd. I have another YouTube channel called Jacob Muff that is a lot of my older short films. I don't upload there very often, a lot of them are older, I'm not proud of all of them. Some of them aren't that great, some of them are okay in my opinion, but it's still fun and I had a lot of fun making those videos. As you can probably tell, I am not using a professional camera, mic, or lighting. I'm filming this with an iPad. As you can tell, there's a blanket in the background, which is my feeble attempt to dampen the audio, and it's pretty dark in here. As of right now, I don't have any professional equipment. As this channel keeps going, I hope to purchase these things in the near future, so you're gonna have to bear with me through this learning phase that I'm going through. I'm a believer that good quality content can shine through lack of professional equipment. Now that that's out of the way, let's get right into the video. What made Star Wars Episode 7 so good, and the prequels so bad? The original Star Wars A New Hope debuted in 1977 and became a cultural phenomenon. A New Hope and its two sequels were smash hits, gaining critical acclaim for its epic plot, engaging characters, just the right amount of humor, and awe-inspiring special effects. Several years later, in 1999, The Phantom Menace hit theaters. This was the beginning of a prequel trilogy, episodes 1, 2, and 3. All three of these movies were financially successful, but fans were largely unhappy with them, and they earned mixed critical reviews. All in all, many Star Wars fans and movie critics would call the prequels a failure. A decade later, in 2015, Star Wars Episode 7 The Force Awakens debuted. This was the beginning of Disney's sequel trilogy to the original three movies. The Force Awakens was a huge success, breaking many box office records and earning critical and fan acclaim. Some have called it the biggest cinematic event of the century, which may be an overstatement, but still, it was pretty awesome. So what made The Force Awakens such a huge success and the prequels, in the eyes of many fans, such a huge failure? Many would blame bad acting in the prequels, which is true. Also, an over-reliance on CG. Some would blame a lack of original trilogy feel. Some would blame Jar Jar. And also, some would blame just plain bad writing. All of these things are true, but I don't think these are the root of the problem. I think the root of the problem of why the prequels are so bad and why Episode 7 is so good is good, relatable characters. If you look at Episode 7, you've got Rey, Finn, and Poe. Rey is a lonely scavenger living on a desert planet, trying to make ends meet, and also wondering about the mysterious disappearance of her parents. Then she gets swept up in a grand adventure, and it's way over her head, but yet she seems to adapt to situations very well, and she's just a likable character. She's also just a plain good person. She looks out for other people, and she has an innocent and childlike worldview of the world outside of Jakku, her home planet. Finn is a stormtrooper trained from birth to kill. Then, on his first battle, he grows a conscience and leaves the First Order because he knows that killing innocent people is wrong. Throughout the story, he has a moral battle in his mind of whether he should help Rey bring BB-8 to the Resistance or just hightail out of there because he knows that the First Order is coming after him. It's a great moral battle for another likable character. It's just good character development. Poe is a witty and skilled fighter pilot who resists the First Order with all of his might. We don't really get to see him as much as the two main characters, Rey and Finn, but even so, he's a likable character. He's willing to stick his neck out for other people and his friend. So after just that brief description of the Force Awakens characters, you can see that they're pretty likable, well-rounded, and developed pretty well. They have clear motivations, what they do makes sense to their character, and they're just fun to be around. Now let's look at the prequels. You've got Anakin, Padme, and Obi-Wan. Anakin is the chosen one, the one to bring balance to the Force. Sounds pretty awesome, right? He's also moody, bratty, and sometimes pretty creepy. He whines and rebels against his master Obi-Wan consistently, even though Obi-Wan seems like a pretty nice guy with some good advice. And his obsession over Padme before they get married is unhealthy to say the least. Keep in mind, this is the main protagonist of these films. Does he sound like someone you want to root for? If he turned to the dark side, would you be that disappointed or even surprised at all? Next, there's Padme. She's the former queen and senator of her home planet Naboo. Her character before her love relationship with Anakin was okay at best, if not just flat. Then, for no reason, she falls in love with previously mentioned moody, creepy guy. Why? I honestly have no idea. Okay, Anakin is pretty good looking in Revenge of the Sith, but like, she's not that shallow, is she? That can't be the only reason. And the movies try to make it seem like they really love each other when Anakin's love is just kind of a creepy obsession, and Padme's just happens for no reason. Like seriously, if I was Padme in episode 2, I would have been like, leave me alone, creepy guy. Finally, and bestly, if that's a word, Obi-Wan. Ewan McGregor's portrayal of this character is probably the best part of all of the prequels. This was a Jedi who loved and cared for his Padawan like a son and a brother, respected the Jedi Order and its council, and was serious most of the time, but was also genuinely friendly and nice. He was the only, out of the 3 main characters, the relatable one, the interesting one. When Anakin turns to the dark side in Revenge of the Sith, I genuinely feel for Obi-Wan. His friend, his Padawan, his brother, the chosen one, just betrayed him for the dark side, and Obi-Wan is crushed. So, for the prequels, 2 out of your 3 main characters just plain aren't good. And those 2 characters are the 2 main protagonists. Obi-Wan is definitely a main character, but he's not the focus. This isn't a formula for an engaging, epic, emotionally resounding story, if you ask me. When it comes down to it, The Force Awakens characters are simply better and more relatable and more fun, which, to me, makes it a much better story. After all, The Force Awakens is not a perfect movie, but its characters still make it a great movie. Let's just hope that with all of these ups and downs when it comes to characters, that Lucasfilm has learned its lesson by now. And hopefully, it'll keep that lesson in mind for Rogue One.